Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Before continuing, please review the legal disclaimer provided in the comment section of this video and make sure to see the video till the end to get a full understanding of how it all works. On this channel, we share practical guidance on visa processes, immigration pathways, investment and citizenship options, and related topics to help you make informed decisions. If you are unsure about your visa options or planning your next step, consider subscribing and enabling notifications so you stay updated with the latest developments. Imagine this. You finally decide to visit Iceland, the land of fire and ice, northern lights, blue lagoon, black sand beaches, glaciers, waterfalls, volcanoes, ice caves, road trips through dramatic landscapes that look like another planet. You picture yourself standing under the aurora borealis, driving the famous ring road, watching geysers erupt, walking behind giant waterfalls, experiencing one of the most surreal countries on Earth. Then, suddenly, visa refused. And the shocking truth is this: most Iceland tourist visa refusals happen because of avoidable mistakes. Not because people were poor, not because they lacked education, not because they came from the wrong country, but because they misunderstood how Iceland's tourist visa system actually works. And in this complete masterclass, you are going to learn everything. Not from a New Zealand perspective, not from one country's viewpoint, but from a true global perspective based on the latest Iceland and Schengen visa procedures in 2026. In this video, we are going to cover whether Iceland is part of the Schengen area, who actually needs a visa, how to choose the correct embassy, how to prepare strong documents, how to prove finances properly, how travel insurance works, how biometrics and border systems work, the biggest refusal mistakes, what immigration officers really look for, and what smart travelers do differently. Stay until the end because there is one major misunderstanding involving Iceland itineraries, financial proof, and winter travel that destroys thousands of tourist visa applications every single year. Let's begin. First, let's understand something extremely important. Iceland is part of the Schengen area. That means Iceland follows Schengen visa rules for short-stay tourist travel. So if your nationality requires a Schengen visa, you generally apply for a Schengen short-stay visa to visit Iceland. And here is where many people get confused immediately. Some travelers think Iceland has a completely separate tourist visa system from Europe. Wrong. For most short tourist visits, Iceland uses the Schengen visa framework. This means one approved Schengen visa may allow travel across multiple Schengen countries, depending on your itinerary and visa conditions. Now let's talk about who actually needs a visa. Some nationalities can travel visa-free to Iceland and the Schengen area for short stays. Others must apply for a Schengen visa before traveling. And here is something important in 2026. Europe has fully activated advanced digital border tracking systems across Schengen external borders. That means entries and exits are now increasingly monitored through biometric systems and digital databases, instead of only traditional passport stamping. Overstays and immigration violations are becoming easier to detect automatically, so compliance matters more than ever. Now let's talk about the first major step: choosing the correct embassy or visa center. This is one of the biggest mistakes first-time applicants make. If Iceland is your main destination, meaning you will spend the most time there during your Europe trip, then Iceland should generally process your Schengen visa application. If your time is equally split across several countries, then you usually apply through the country where you first enter the Schengen area. This matters enormously. Some people try to apply through whichever embassy has easier appointments. Bad idea. Visa officers can see your itinerary, and inconsistencies create suspicion immediately. Now let's discuss something unique about Iceland travel. Iceland is expensive, very expensive. And this affects visa applications more than many people realize. Immigration officers know that accommodation, transportation, food, and activities in Iceland can cost significantly more than in many other destinations. So your financial proof must realistically support your proposed trip. This is where huge numbers of applications collapse. Applicants submit unrealistic budgets that do not match actual Iceland travel costs. And visa officers notice immediately. Now let's move into the actual application process. Step 1 is timing. This is where smart travelers separate themselves from desperate travelers. Many people apply too late, then panic, then make mistakes. Iceland visa applications are generally processed through embassies, consulates, or authorized visa centers depending on your country of residence. And here is something important. Appointment slots during peak Iceland travel seasons disappear very quickly, especially for Northern Lights season, summer road trip season, Christmas holidays, New Year, travel, volcano tourism periods. Peak tourism demand creates huge pressure on appointment systems. The smartest travelers prepare at least 2 to 3 months before travel, sometimes even earlier. Now let's discuss the most important part of the entire process: the documents. This is where most Iceland tourist visa applications either succeed or collapse. And here is the biggest truth many people do not realize. Visa officers are not looking for the thickest file. They are looking for the most believable story. Your documents must clearly answer 4 major questions. Who are you? Why are you visiting Iceland? Can you financially support yourself? And will you return home after your trip? If your application fails to answer even one of these clearly, refusal risk increases immediately. Now let's break the documents down step by step. First is your passport. Your passport should generally remain valid for at least 3 months beyond your intended departure from the Schengen area. It should also contain sufficient blank pages. And here is something many people ignore. Damaged passports can create serious problems. If your passport is torn, heavily worn, or has damaged biometric information, renew it before applying. Now let's discuss the visa application form. Every detail matters. Employment information, travel dates, accommodation, financial details, sponsor information. Everything must align perfectly with your supporting documents. One contradiction can create suspicion immediately. Now let's discuss photographs. Schengen biometric photograph standards are strict. Use professional visa photo services familiar with Schengen requirements. Do not guess. Now let's move to one of the most important parts: your itinerary. This is where many Iceland applications become unrealistic. Your trip does not need to look luxurious. It needs to look believable. Simple and organized always beats exaggerated and chaotic. And here is one of the biggest mistakes applicants make. They underestimate Iceland travel logistics. Iceland is not a tiny city vacation destination where everything is close together. Weather conditions, long driving distances, winter road closures, limited daylight in some seasons, all these factors matter. If your itinerary claims you will drive unrealistic distances during winter storms or visit impossible numbers of locations in very short time frames, your application starts looking suspicious immediately. Visa officers want realistic travel plans, not fantasy vacations. Now let's discuss flights. Most embassies mainly want proof of intended travel plans rather than expensive fully paid non-refundable tickets before approval. Temporary reservations or flexible bookings are commonly used. But whatever you submit must logically match your itinerary. Now let's discuss accommodation. This becomes especially important for Iceland because accommodation can be expensive and limited in remote areas. Hotels, guest houses, rental apartments, hostels, road trip accommodations. Everything should match your itinerary logically. and fake hotel bookings are extremely dangerous. Embassies increasingly verify reservations. One fraud finding can seriously damage future immigration opportunities globally. Never use fake documents. Not fake hotel bookings. Not fake bank statements. Not fake employment letters. Not fake tax records. Now let's move to one of the biggest approval factors: financial proof. This is where huge numbers of Iceland tourist visa applications fail. And here is the critical thing most applicants misunderstand. Visa officers are not only checking whether you have money, they are checking whether your financial story makes sense. That difference changes everything. Sudden large deposits before application are major red flags. Borrowed money temporarily parked in your account often gets noticed immediately. What matters more is consistency. Stable salary deposits, business activity, savings patterns, tax history, regular financial behavior. These things create credibility. The embassy wants to understand your real financial life, not a temporary version created 2 weeks before applying. And here is another major truth. A modest but stable financial profile is often stronger than a huge suspicious bank balance. Now let's discuss employment proof. This is one of the most important parts of many Schengen applications. If you are employed, you usually provide employment letters, leave approval, salary slips, and evidence that you are expected back at work. If you own a business registration documents, tax records, and company activity become important. If you are self-employed or freelance, stable professional activity matters greatly. If you are retired, pension records may help. If you are a student, enrollment documents and sponsorship evidence are often important. Everything should point toward one major message: you have strong reasons to return home. Now let's discuss travel insurance. This is mandatory for Schengen visas. Your insurance generally must cover emergency medical treatment, hospitalization, and repatriation throughout the Schengen area. And this becomes especially important for Iceland. Why? Because Iceland's natural environment can be unpredictable. Weather conditions can change rapidly. Outdoor tourism is extremely common, and emergency medical or rescue costs can become very expensive. Your insurance dates and coverage must match your trip properly. Now let's discuss sponsorships and invitation letters. Suppose a friend or family member in Iceland is supporting your trip. In that case, you may need invitation letters and supporting documentation depending on embassy requirements. But here is something important. A sponsor cannot magically fix a weak application. The applicant still needs to appear genuine and credible. Now let's discuss cover letters. This is one of the most underrated parts of the entire application. A strong cover letter helps connect all your documents into one clear and believable story. Your cover letter should explain why you want to visit Iceland, your intended travel dates, your travel plans, who is funding your trip, your employment or personal background, and why you will return home after your visit. Keep it professional, simple, clear, truthful. Do not exaggerate. Now let's discuss biometrics. Most Schengen visa applicants provide fingerprints and photographs during the application process. And because Europe now uses advanced digital border systems, biometric compliance has become even more important. Your entries and exits are increasingly tracked electronically. That means overstays are becoming much easier to detect automatically. Now comes the waiting period, and this is where patience matters. Some applicants receive decisions relatively quickly. Others wait weeks depending on season, embassy workload, and additional checks. Peak tourism periods often create delays. Now let's discuss one of the most important sections of this entire video: the top reasons Iceland tourist visas get refused. This section alone could save your application. Number 1 is unrealistic financial proof. Iceland is expensive. If your finances do not realistically support your itinerary, refusal risk increases immediately. Number 2 is weak proof of ties to home country. If the embassy believes you may overstay or not return home, problems begin immediately. Number 3 is fake documentation. This is catastrophic. Fake bank statements, fake hotel bookings, fake employment letters, fake travel insurance. Never do this. Number 4 is inconsistent information. Your forms, itinerary, financial records, travel plans, and interview answers must all align naturally. Number 5 is unrealistic Iceland itineraries. This destroys huge numbers of applications. Your travel plans must account for real Iceland conditions, driving times, weather, seasonal daylight, road conditions. Everything matters. Now here is a major psychological insight. Visa officers review enormous numbers of applications every year. They become extremely skilled at spotting risk patterns quickly. Your goal is not to impress them. Your goal is to appear genuine, organized, stable, and transparent. That is what successful applications usually look like. Now let's discuss travel history. Previous legal international travel can strengthen your profile significantly. If you have traveled legally to countries like the UK, Canada, Australia, Japan, Singapore, New Zealand, or the United States, and complied with immigration rules, that may strengthen your credibility. But here is something important. No travel history does not automatically mean refusal. Strong overall credibility still matters most. Now, let's discuss airport immigration. A visa approval does not guarantee entry into Iceland or the Schengen area. Border officers can still ask questions when you arrive. Carry copies of your hotel bookings, insurance return ticket, financial proof, road trip reservations if applicable. Most genuine tourists experience no issues. But preparation matters. Now let's discuss one dangerous mistake applicants keep making. Copy-paste applications. Thousands of people use identical itineraries, cover letters, invitation formats, and travel plans copied from the internet. Visa officers recognize these patterns immediately. Your application should reflect your real situation, real finances, real work, real travel plans, real intentions. Authenticity matters far more than fancy wording. Now let's discuss one important thing many travelers ignore. Iceland weather can disrupt travel significantly. Flights, road conditions, tours, driving plans. Everything can change rapidly depending on weather conditions. That is why flexible planning is extremely important. Now let's discuss practical approval strategies experienced travelers often follow. Apply early. Keep documents organized. Use realistic Iceland travel plans. Maintain stable financial activity before applying. Avoid fake documents completely. Be honest during interviews. And never assume approval is automatic. Now let's answer some common questions people ask. Can unemployed applicants get approved? Sometimes yes, especially with strong sponsorship and genuine circumstances. Can freelancers apply? Absolutely. But freelancers should show stable professional activity and financial consistency. Can students apply? Yes. But students often need sponsorship evidence and proof of ongoing studies. Can previous visa refusals affect Iceland applications? Yes. But refusals do not automatically destroy future chances if earlier issues are properly addressed. Can you work in Iceland on a tourist visa? Generally, no. Unauthorized employment can create serious immigration consequences. Can tourists extend their stay? Schengen tourist visas are generally for temporary stays, and overstaying can create serious future travel problems. And finally, here is the biggest truth about Iceland tourist visa approvals. Most successful applications are actually very ordinary. Not flashy, not dramatic, not perfect. Just believable, a genuine traveler, with realistic plans, stable finances, clear documentation, and strong reasons to return home. That combination wins approvals again and again. So if Iceland is on your dream travel list for 2026, start preparing early, stay organized, and focus on credibility over perfection. Because one honest and well-prepared application is far more powerful than a thick folder full of random paperwork, and you have come to the right place to get all your visa applications sorted in a hassle-free and professional manner. We can help you to get the entire process done correctly and make your dream trip to any destination in the world easier than you think. Make sure to get in touch with us on our WhatsApp mobile numbers, no matter which part of the world you are in, and do subscribe. Like and share our channel to get many more interesting updates. Thank you for watching and have a safe journey. Call us now on +64 221 786 0007 or +91 73786 00791.